This is Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Stars. Watch and listen for the very latest news and interviews from within the Big Red Machine.
Hi everybody and welcome to Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Town Council sponsored Billingham Stars. Back here with episode number 8. I can still do that one in fingers, just about. Episode 8 and joined as always by Carol and Jono to look at a very good weekend for the Billingham Stars. Carol, Jono, evening again. How's things?
Good evening. All things are well.
Still basking in the glow of 6 wonderful points from the weekend?
Absolutely. What a weekend it was.
We'll talk about the games away at Hull and at home to the Solihull Barons. And we'll do the usual scores and tables. We'll look ahead to next weekend's games, which won't take very long because Billingham don't have any. So we'll talk about something else in terms of a preview. We'll have any other business, and we'll look around the NIHL as well. As we said, this is episode number 8. Thanks to everybody who keeps tuning in, whether you watch on our Facebook page, YouTube, or whether you listen to any of the audios on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and the like. And we found this weekend as well, we have listeners in the B92 postcode area as well. So thanks to you for tuning in. You'll probably be really focused for the first 10 minutes and then fade away and we'll not notice you by the end. But thanks for tuning in. You're all very welcome here listening to the Starcast. We'll do it in sequence. We'll start on the road and the chipspice.com arena on Saturday. The previously unbeaten league leaders, the Hull Jets, and it was possibly more convincing than even we thought it would be. 7-3 for the Billingham Stars. Just trying to find my notes. Here we go. So 7-3 goals for Billingham. Michael Elder, Scott Morris equalised for Hull. Then Ian Brown, Elder again. Ian Brown again, Connor McNulty, Callum Wilkinson, Volkanovs for Hull, Rowley for Billingham, and Reece Edwards finishing off for the Hull Jets. 7-3 your final for Billingham. In net was Jacob Hammond, 3 goals on 24 shots. And for the Hull Jets, Zach Brown, 7 goals on 38 shots. So as I said, Jono and Carol going into the unbeaten league leaders, possibly confident, but the way Billingham performed, Jono, a perfect road game.
Absolutely perfect. From the first puck drop, it was an absolute top draw performance from the Billingham Stars. 3 lines rolled all game long. They all knew the jobs. They all knew what they had to do, and every single one of them give absolutely everything, and left nothing out there, which sometimes can happen with a big game the following night. But not absolutely top draw from the lads on Saturday. And I think it left the whole Jets a bit shell-shocked at how good, how fast and how physical we actually were. Yeah.
And from the shots on goal we saw there, Carol, Billingham keeping Hull down to 24 shots. I think it was just over double figures into 2 periods. For those first 40, Billingham barely let the Hull Jets out of their own zone.
Absolutely not. Spoke to both coaches after the game. Hopefully everybody's caught up with those interviews, and thanks again to Andy Dentith, who gave us his time for the second time in a week. I think they both pretty much said the same. For 40 minutes, I don't think I've seen a performance from a Billingham team that complete for a long time, and I don't think Hull had a clue what to do with us. Hull had the squad there to cause us real problems, but they genuinely didn't look like they knew how to deal with the fact that they had 3 very strong lines rolling at them constantly. And for those 40 minutes, first 40 minutes especially, I don't think there is a team in the league that could have lived with the Stars.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the 3 lines. That could be a theme across the weekend, particularly as it comes to Sunday's game. But the 3 lines, like you say, Hull, they didn't know which line to shut down. There wasn't a defined top line, you could say. Mikey's line scored 2, Ian Brown scored 2, Connor McNulty scored. It's the goals were coming from each and every way, and and Hull didn't really know which way to go. And because Billingham had that depth, whatever Hull tried, Billingham always had a way to counter.
Yeah, I think personally, like the coaches at Hull didn't know which way to go. They didn't know to go with their top line against one of ours, which then could see their top line being shut down, or to use their second line to shut down a Pacific line, because we just had 3 lines rolling all night long. I mean, effectively, our third line was Rollins Grithands, James Moss, and Lucas Dowdle. How ridiculous is that, by the way? That's just crazy, and it went at them all night long. As soon as Sykesy, Elder, and McNulty are off, the next long line was on, just as aggressive, just as fast, and just as skillful.
Yeah, and we saw that obviously the one of the last games of last season, the game that clinched the league title, 3-0 down in Hull, same sort of performance, kind of keeping the pressure on Hull and not letting them play. And it was kind of a recipe that the coaches at Billingham went to again, Carol. And what's been impressive, although Billingham are scoring goals again this season, they do have that solidity and plans for the defensive end of the ice, and a kind of a tip of the hat to the newly assistant coach Richie Thornton for the work he's doing with the guys at the back end.
Yeah, can't argue with that. I'll be honest, this is going to sound a bit brutal, but I think 7-3 flattered Hull Jets. I think they were lucky to get those 3 goals. Certainly one of them was beyond fortunate. But at the end of the day, I've not, as I said before, I haven't seen a complete performance like that. And absolutely, I agree that the defence played a massive part of that. They restricted Hull's undoubted talent up front to very little. I mean, Vlad's Volkanovs, what a talent that guy is. And I hardly saw him all night. He was just nullified as a threat. Reed was icing for them as well. Didn't see much of him either. And that's all credit to the decor. And yeah, you're right. I think we've got to pass that credit on to Richie Thornton. Great job.
Yeah, and the younger D as well, getting the benefit of his experience. And again, we'll see it on Sunday. Having a plan, maybe having to adjust that plan, but then once the plan was adjusted, the defense did what they had to do to shut down a kind of worthy opponent. So, anything else from the whole game? Obviously, they say the scoring in depth, solid at the back. The game plan worked. Anything else from the game, or do you want to talk about the chip spice? I want too keen to talk about the chip spice. Carol,
I'm too keen to talk about the chip spice, which was bang on. I'm happy to report the chip spice in Hull is still the best.
Unfortunately, the spice dispenser only gets a 3 out of 10.
Yeah,
it wasn't having its best day. The spice dispenser.
You mean there was like a restriction on spice coming out of you just couldn't get enough?
Yeah, you had to proper bang it to get a decent amount out. But I did.
You did. I have photographic evidence of such. Yes. No, gutted I didn't make it down, but had family commitments on the Saturday, so couldn't get down. So I'll have to make doubly sure to get down later in the season to get my share of the chip spice. It was kind of a whole double as well on Saturday for the Billingham club. The Bucks were there at lunchtime. They spot them a 4-goal lead and won 7-6. I think that was the
one.
A brief summary of the game. Newsflash: Stephen Wallace has still got it. If there's any doubt,
young man scored 4 goals.
Yeah, no, it was great for the Bucks as well. Traveling fans. I know some people went down to do the whole day. No doubt with a stop in the Whittington Cat as an interval as well. Another shout out for a rink food staple. But a good day in Hull all round for the Billingham club. The Bucks take the points, the Stars take the points, and they came home. As Carol said, both coaches interviewed post-game on Big Red Machine Radio. If you search our social media feed, you'll find the links to listen to those. Andy Dayton for Hull and Stephen Foster for Billingham. And the previewed said, we'll be ready for Sunday. So we will come to Sunday for the Billingham Stars. It was the Solihull Barons coming into town. And obviously they inflicted Billingham's only defeat of the season thus far. and Billingham were looking to kind of get things right. Early doors didn't look like that was going to go to plan. Nicholas Otterson with 2 goals in the first 8.5 minutes, putting the Barons 2-0 up. Sykes getting one back on the power play. And then the middle period, the most purple of purple patches, 3 goals in 1 minute and 50. Ben Greenhalgh, Roland Gritans, and Chris Sykes, all in the very, very top shelf, past the goalie, who was waved to the bench, ignored it, and stayed in for the rest of the game. Period 3, Sykes added the 5th. Alex White, the short-handed goal, 5-3 for Solihull. And then just to finish off, Joe Dowdle, perhaps with a little bit of assistance from the D-man. James Helens and Ian Brown finding the net in the final 3.5 minutes. Final score sounds familiar in a Solihull Billingham game. It was 8-3, this time for the good guys. And first 10 minutes aside, Jono, we'll start with you again. As I mentioned, plans were adjusted after that first 10 minutes. And Billingham, we know they can score in bunches, and they showed that in spades on Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, the game started at an electrifying pace, very quick, in fact, which took me by surprise a bit with the Stars having the game the night before and the Barons having the night off. I did think the only way the Barons were going to ruin the Stars' weekend was by taking it to them in the first period, and probably had to blow us away in the first period, maybe with 4 or 5 goals. It didn't happen. They only scored the 2. And Sykes, he got an absolute worldy goal on the power play. He put it in the smallest of holes above the netminder's shoulder. And then in the second period, like I say, we came out with like a bear with a sore head, and we took it to the Barons and basically took the game away from them. I think they were as shell-shocked as Hull were after being, 2-0 up and then 4-2 down midway through the second period.
Yeah. And that middle period, Carol, we talked about the 3 goals. I think we timed it at 1 minute and 50 for the 3 goals. Ben Greenhalgh doesn't score ordinary goals, as was discussed in the fan forum during the game. Finds the puck on the boards, gets it out of his feet, skates towards the centre slot, and just lets one go. That's top shelf. And then Rowley comes down. Great pass from I think it was Sykesy, and then Rowley goes, finds the twine. And then straight up face-off play, Mikey straight to Sykesy, and again picks the corner. And we did see Phil Lee did wave to the goalie. He didn't acknowledge and stayed in net. But that purple patch, and from then on, Solihull were kind of chasing the game.
Yeah, they look like Hull did for 40 minutes on Saturday. And yeah. When you're behind at home and you're looking for some sort of bit of skill to turn a game, Ben's thunder beep of a goal, what can you say? That's the one that got us on the roll. And then a quite glorious night from Rowley not long after, and then even shorter after that, you've got Sykesy just, topping off a brilliant less than 2 minutes, and all of a sudden Solihull looked like they were chasing shadows, and the mentality seemed to change as well. They seemed to lose a couple of lengths in the skates. Everybody seemed to look a little bit tireder. They didn't roll particularly with a lot of players, even though they turned up with a massive bench.
I was going to say that they had more. I think we only had 15 and 2. I think they had 18 and 2.
Yeah.
Didn't use them, and it kind of, it, like you said, told the tale in the later stages.
Absolutely. I think by the end of the second, even the top line, especially. I mean, we keep talking about Solihull's top line, and it is brilliant. But there's only so many miles in those legs, and by the end of the second, they just looked really tired. And there's only so much you can ask of one line to produce in a game where you've got 3 amazing forward lines coming at you constantly. So I don't think it's that much of a surprise, really, that Solihull ran out of steam. But they did look surprised, and I'm not sure why that would be. I think given the way they were playing the game, once Billingham got their noses in front, I don't really think there was that much doubt about the result.
Yeah, And the start of the third, Jono, obviously the 4-2 at 40 minutes, you knew Solihull would try and come with an effort at the start of the third period, and Sykes' hat-trick marker restoring or extending the lead kind of put paid to that, and the third period kind of not exactly a procession, but that kind of killed off any hopes Solihull had of a fight back.
Yeah, I think everyone expected a Barons onslaught coming in that third, but like Carol said there, they just didn't have the legs. The energy was there for whatever reason, whether it was going 4-2 behind and they just had all that energy zapped or what it was. Yeah, they just had nothing to give. They had little bursts of every now and then, but obviously the fifth goal going in literally put the game beyond doubt. We weren't going to lose it from that point. And fair play to us. We kept the foot on the throat and we kept going and put the score up to 8.
Yeah, and a word for Alex White. I know you've tipped him at the start of the season in your preview. Very good D-man for Solihull, and he chipped in the short-handed goal in the third, but a solid performance from him at the back, even though they shipped 8 goals, and he is proving to be one of the players to watch, as you've said at the start of the season.
Yeah. He started to stand out at the back end of last season. He's a fantastic talent, great skater, does score a lot of points. I think he is the leading scorer from D, because I think they've lost Crow this year, who took a year out to go to Australia, who was the leading point scorer last year from D. So they're still getting those goals. But yeah, he's a great talent. He skates well, and he likes to join the rush.
Yeah, no, it was good to watch, and obviously something to watch out for next time we play the Barons. If you want to catch up with the post game from Sunday, Billingham Stars TV were there. Stephen Foster, and we had a very special interview as well. We had Andy's Man Club were at the game on Sunday. They had a stand behind the seating area, but they also presented man of the match, and I had a chat with Craig, who founded Andy's Man Club in Stockton. So that's on our YouTube page, also on Facebook, if you search for Billingham Stars TV. Also post game with Stephen Foster, in between fire alarms going off because somebody set off the fire alarms during the post game showers, I think, in the dressing room. So that was a bit of a fight with the audio, but we got through it. But yeah, Andy's Man Club, I think they've been to they were at the NIHL playoffs last year. Obviously, that the thing with the Buccaneers towards the end of last season. Bless you. And the Andy's Man Club, there's a Stockton branch, and a huge amount of work they do for men's mental health, and they had their stand and they were giving out the wristbands. So I've got mine on. But they were kind of talking through people, just helping advice, but they were had merch and they were having taken collections as well. So great to have Andy's Man Club there, Jono.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Doing great things to help us blokes out who think we're all too strong and we all think that we can all cope on our own and we don't need to talk. But no, it's not the case. Doesn't know how big you are, doesn't know how strong you think you are. We all need to have that moment, and they're doing a fantastic thing and for a fantastic cause, helping guys out, such as myself, yourself. If we ever need that, they're there to for a shoulder to lean on.
Yeah. So thanks to Andy's Man Club for coming down. Also, thanks to everybody who stopped by the stall, took a bit of merch, made a donation, whatever, to support the great work that they do. Also, as we move into October, it's coming towards the anniversary of Adam Johnson, and I know on the Supporters Club, Jono, you had special pucks from the Adams Angels charity, who are then doing fantastic work. Aaron, who set up the Adams Angels charity, and there were special pucks. They had the Adams Angels logo. They were made by Hockey Freaks, I think the company is, and Stars logo as well. And they went out the door like hotcakes on Sunday as well.
Yeah. We managed to get our hands on a few because they are selling very, very fast. Like I say, we managed to get our logo on them to have that little bit of personalization for our fans. We didn't get many, but we got enough. We got a couple of left, and every penny that comes in goes to Adams Angels, which has been a fantastic cause. And it's also helped our club out with very important bleed kits.
Yeah, they have the number of bleed kits they've given out is ridiculous. The amount of fundraising that's gone on to supply bleed kits. I know there's new teams who've sprouted up this year. Aaron's already on trying to get bleed kits for them for the Division 1 teams in Leeds and the new team in the south. And it's amazing work. And Carol, the club being in a position to have this kind of support and influence for good causes, like Andy's Man Club, like for Adam's Angels, the stuff that the Stars do support, it's just an extra string to the bow. Yes, we're a hockey club, but there's so much more that the club does around the community and the hockey family.
Oh yeah, and it's always been that way. We've always been a very strong community club. We get involved where we think it's appropriate. Andy's Man Clubs have had absolutely great example of that. We get involved in the local food bank. We get involved in projects locally that benefit the local community. Adam's Angels, we're absolutely delighted to be supporting, because that's the hockey community. I do think Billingham's got a long history of getting involved in community projects and supporting our own, really, and making sure that we're part of something bigger than just a hockey game. And I think we're all very proud of that.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's great to see the club's kind of sticking its hand up and supporting those who need the help and want the help and putting themselves out there, which that's brilliant to see. Anything else from the Solihull game? Obviously, it's on us even after the first two games of the series. So I think we play them back end of the season now. I think it is for the remaining games. So we'll have that one on the back burner, but it's sure to be when the sides do meet again. All guns blazing in both ways, I think.
Yeah, I think both teams will have a point to prove. Especially, I think they come here first before we go back there. So obviously, whatever happens that game, the other team will want to put the next one right. But yeah, I think they're always, despite score lines, they always seem to be fantastic games with great, very physical and very fast games.
Yeah, and we've said this a few times, Carol. The league has taken a step up again from last year, and the rivalries and the competition between not just the so-called top teams, between all 10 teams. There's something to play for every night, and both coaches, I think, said it in Hull, and I think Fuzzy said it even on Sunday after the game. If a team, whoever they are, aren't ready to play and don't give their best, then they will come unstuck this year in this division.
Absolutely, and that goes for literally every single team in this league. I think Andy Dentith hit it on the head as well. You're not going to get a team go unbeaten. The teams are going to lose. Teams are going to win games they maybe didn't expect to. And it's all going to come down to who's the best prepared at the end of the day. That's why I was a little bit surprised actually about Solihull, because they turned up with 18 plus 2. That's brilliant. Away to Billingham on a Sunday night. That's a long journey, and they came fully prepared in my eyes before face-off, and I thought we were going to be in for a real tricky game, but then they didn't use bench, so maybe they've got a lesson to learn there. And certainly I think if you turn up and you've left even one part of your game plan to one side, then you're going to find out in a big hurry. I'm quite sure at some point the Stars will come unstuck again, and it will be down to something that hasn't been prepared correctly.
Yeah, no, and it's for the fans and for ourselves who are the watchers, and it's just going to be exciting from now until the end of March. Basically, it's every weekend's going to have a story to tell. So we shall keep watching and keep enjoying. So we'll leave the weekend there. As I say, 2 great wins. 2 wins. Do the math. 15 goals, 6 points. Job done as far as the Billingham Stars were concerned. Anyway, I mean, we'll talk about it when we come to next weekend's fixtures. Disappointing in a way we can't keep the actually used the phrase "keep the kettle boiling" in the interview with Fozzie on Sunday, which I don't know where that came from. Like I'm 73-year-old or something. But we kind of keep the momentum going. No games this weekend coming for Billingham, but we'll keep momentum in training. We'll talk about that shortly. Scores and tables from Division 1 North last weekend. Got to give a shout out. First time I've used the box scores that Joe Scutts has been doing for NIHL Stats. Fantastic piece of work from all 4 divisions of the regional divisions, North and South 1 and 2. So he's got the scores, league tables, and then each individual game has its line-by-line score, who scored, who assisted, what time, penalty shot, power play, whatever, penalties, goalie stats, power play stats. Fantastic piece of work. So if you don't follow him on Twitter, NIHL Stats, but certainly the website to look at is nihlstats.wordpress.com. Don't know where he finds the time on a Monday and a Tuesday to update stuff, because he does have a job as well that actually pays him money, which being NIHL statistician kind of doesn't. But great work from Joe, and I am giving him the credit because I'm reading word for word off what he prepared for the weekend just gone. Saturday, October 5th, then Sheffield 2, D-side 8, 61-23, the shots on goal there. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. Hull 3, Billingham 7, as we said. Leeds 5, Widnes 2. Leeds keep their run going, beating the Wild twice. Nottingham 0, Blackburn 4. A shutout at the NIC. They played on the big pad there on the Saturday. On a Sunday, D-side 9, Sheffield 1, 50-16, the shots on goal. Things aren't well in Sheffield. I think that's a understatement. Whitley Warriors 9, Widnes Wild 2, 57-27, those shots on goal. Penalty minutes only 4-2. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. Billingham 8, Solihull 3, as we know about. And the final game of the weekend, Nottingham 4, Hull 9. If you believe the goals, if you believe the guys doing the goal judging, Nottingham outshot Hull 59-44 and lost 9-4. Alice Padlek scored. Volkanov scored a hat-trick. He is doing the business for the Hull Jets, that's for sure. So the league table as of the end of play on the 6th of October, Hull Jets stay top. 6 wins, an overtime win, and 1 regulation loss, 20 points. Billingham second, 6 wins, 1 loss, 18 points. Then it's down to Whitley Warriors, 5 games played, 4 wins, 1 overtime loss, they were 13. Blackburn, 6 games, 4 wins, 2 losses, 12 points. Same record for the D-side Dragons. Nottingham, 3 wins and 4 losses for 9 points. Solihull Barons in 7th place, 5 games, 2 wins, 3 losses, just 6 points for the Barons. Leeds, 2 wins and 4 losses for 6 points. And then Widnes are winless in 6 games, and Sheffield winless in 8 games. Cup standings still don't really make sense because nobody's played enough games. Thoughts on the results and anything on the tables? Carol, start with you.
I think it's clear that there are a couple of teams are going to struggle without some significant change in the next few weeks, month or so. Sheffield look directionless. Widnes, I don't know what to say about Widnes because I think they're all over the place, and I can't see that situation changing anytime soon. So I think your bottom 2, even this early in the season, are actually looking pretty set. Leeds have started picking up points. Granted, they're against the teams below them, but they're still picking up points, and that's good to see. Solihull won't stay in 7th, that's for sure. They're too good to be at that end of the table. The rest of the results kind of went how I expected them to go. I think the only one that even slightly surprised me was the fact that Nottingham got blanked on Saturday. I don't know that I expected them to get anything out of that game particularly, but I didn't expect them to be shut out. And no, I don't believe those goalie stats from the following day either. I don't believe that a team can win 9-4 and be outshot. That's ridiculous. So unless they can prove otherwise, but I don't believe those stats.
Yeah.
I don't believe many shots on goal stats in this division, I'm afraid.
No. Yourself, Jono, I mean, we had it down to talk about during any other business, but we may as well talk about while we're talking about games. One of the big things from the weekend, just ahead of the D-side Sheffield doubleheader, D-side nicked Sheffield's goalie, the good one. Matt Croyle returns to the Dragons and leaves Sheffield with Nick Winters and Scarlett Richardson were the two who played the weekend. We saw what Matt Croyle can do, even though Billingham won 8-2. You know what the kind of saves he can make, and that's going to be a huge upgrade for D-side at the goalie position.
Yeah, I think that's them admitting they made a mistake letting him go. I think they decided to go down the route with two young goalies. Realised it's not fair on them two young goalies as much as it's great getting them loads of ice time, but it can't be good for them facing conceding that many goals. So bringing Matt Croyle back in with a bit of experience who can take the workload off them and take them out of those pressurised situations, it was probably a good move by D-side.
Yeah. And the other thing we talked about, we mentioned it earlier in the season, Carol, obviously Patrick Grigor signed for Whitley, had to miss a few games for reasons, but that's all cleared up and he played on Sunday, made his debut. Warriors fans talking about him fairly positively on social, and breaking news, he picked up 0 penalty minutes in his home debut.
Who'd have thought? Everybody who had a sweepstake on how long it would take Paddy to get a penalty, more fool you. I'm really pleased for him. I'm really glad that he had a really good first game. I must admit I was watching the socials to see what the reaction was, and bar one or two who possibly can't admit that they might have been wrong, it seems to be universally positive, which we at Billingham knew all along, but it's really good to see that other teams, and specifically his new team, are starting to see how valuable Paddy can be. And good luck to him. All the best to Paddy, except when he plays us, obviously.
Except in December and January and March, I think it is. It's almost as if he is as advertised. He's a solid defensive defenseman most of the time when he doesn't kill people. And he hasn't killed anybody so far, so thumbs up to him. We'll leave the review of the weekend there. And again, just thanks again to Joe Scutts, NIHL Stats. If you check out nihlstats.wordpress.com or follow NIHL Stats on Twitter, he'll give you all the heads up when the box scores are ready. And it's a fantastic document. I'm just looking again, 13 pages for the NIHL North 1 this weekend. And he does that for all 4 regional divisions. So a huge piece of work, and well worth for statos and just people who are interested in the game. Well worth having a look at that. Breathe. Right. Next weekend. At this point, we would talk about the next games for the Billingham Stars this coming weekend, and we might have even, as we did last week with the Hull guys, get some guests on to talk about next weekend's games. But thanks to the fixture computer, he says in jest, no games for the Stars, a complete weekend off. Fozzie alluded to it in his interview. Would have liked to keep the momentum going, but they'll work with training, give guys who will bumps and bruises, give them time to relax, and a couple of weeks before we have Sheffield and Leeds, is it?
Correct. Yep.
Sheffield away, Leeds at home.
That's correct.
In 2 weeks' time. So I have done my homework. Next weekend, there are games, though, in the NIHL North Division 1. Saturday, don't want to take Jono's job completely, but we'll just quickly run through. Hull versus Sheffield and Solihull versus Whitley. That could be interesting on Saturday at Hobbs Moat Road. And then
Solihull Saturday home game.
A rare Saturday home game, at 7 o'clock face-off as well. But it's a Saturday, so it's, have a lie-in on Sunday. As long as you don't work on Sunday. Is the Chippy open late on a Saturday, though? That's the question.
It is.
That sounds like previous knowledge is coming to play there.
It's open late on a Sunday, I have to be on a Saturday.
So Solihull Whitley Saturday, 7 o'clock. And Sunday's 3 games. D-side Blackburn, another decent one in prospect there, I think, at D-side.
Barnes versus Witkowski.
Widnes Wild, Solihull Barons, a League and Cup game at Widnes. And then Nottingham Leeds. That should be all right. That Leeds. And that one's obviously Sunday night, 7:20-ish.
8 p.m.
On Pad 2 at the NIC. Nottingham Leeds again. Both teams with a point to prove, I think. So should be interesting. So in terms of our weekend, next weekend, then, what are we going to do with no hockey? Jono, what's your weekend going to look like with no games to go to?
It's a weekend off. It's fantastic. In all its wisdom, the football's gone to an international week, so there's nothing to do there. So it might have to be a paintbrush and a few jobs around the house.
That's a sad admission as well.
Yeah, very sad.
But now that you've said it on the podcast,
yeah,
you've hoisted by your own petard there.
I can see it now. It definitely needs doing.
Fair play. Carol, your weekend, hockeyless?
Well, in true professional segue style, I might be catching up with a bit of NIHL. I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. If I'm going to be honest, I'm looking out the window and thinking the garden could probably do with a bit of attention, but that sounds really dull and boring, so I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, well, it's last weekend. Next week's the last week for our garden bin at home as well. So if there's any, I have to look at garden rubbish at our place as well to see what we can get rid of.
Has just took a turn.
It's gone.
Welcome to Gardener's Question Time on Billingham Stars podcast. Yeah, but you do mention NIHL, Carol. That's very prescient of you, as almost as if we were going to talk about it already. NIHL starts this week. I was listening to some NIHL podcasts and thinking that she would do a draft to all pick some teams, but it's too much hard work. We'll just tell people, for those who don't know, our own teams and what we think is going to happen. Who would like to go first?
I don't mind it because I think we'll fail miserably. I'm a Red Wings fan. I've been for a very long time. Team picked for me. But yeah, I think after the hype of last year of just missing out on the playoffs to a certain someone else's team, not mentioning names, Washington Capitals, losing out by a point, I think we fall short again this year. Ottawa look very, very strong.
Do you still believe in the ISA plan?
I do believe in the ISA plan. I think it's another 2 years away from being in full, effective, competitive playoff hockey.
Is the ISA plan better than the Shanna plan?
The Shanna plan is dead, isn't it?
Well, he's still there. I don't know how, but he's still there. Hi, Toronto Maple Leafs here. Thanks. For my many sins.
For the Cup, I think it's going to go to Edmonton. I don't think McDavid's getting stopped this year. They're
still dodgy at the back end. The Oilers, aren't they? They can't always score their way out of trouble. But because everything's so focused at the Leafs, can I just say, what's the deal with signing a player whose number is 67? Max Pacioretty signs for the Leafs. Haven't won a cup since 1967. Oh, we'll say Max Pacioretty. What number he play? He plays 67. Are they just like, I don't know. Carol, Jono's kind of tipped the wink a little bit, but your NHL team?
Also picked for me, I might add. Unfortunately for me, I'm a Washington Capitals fan, for which I 100% blame Patrice Lefebvre. For those who don't know, Patrice Lefebvre played for Billingham Bombers and then went to Washington Capitals, which as career moves go, he might have had some in between, but as career moves go, that's pretty spectacular. Billingham to Washington Capitals, awesome stuff. So that meant that I became a Washington Capitals fan a long time ago, and unfortunately I'm stuck with them, even though they are playoff bottlers apart from 1 year, and all round over reliant on one Russian. Who can say?
Who needs to score 42? Is it 42 he needs this year?
Yeah,
to break the great one. Jono said Oilers for the cup. Who's your cup tip?
Do you know what?
Washington there, the way you paused.
No, I was about to say it's anybody but Washington. I actually agree with Jono, weirdly enough. I think Edmonton's a great shout, but who knows? I completely blew it last year, and I'm not even going to say who I put money on. Needless to say, they didn't win. So I'm not the best person to ask.
Were they wearing blue?
I couldn't possibly say.
I've got a feeling Colorado will sort themselves out. the West and take it. Obviously, I'd like it to be the Leafs, but we know how the Leafs perform in the playoffs, as in not very well. But we see. It all kicks off this weekend anyway. If you follow the NHL, why not let us know who your NHL team is, who you're following, who you're tipping for the Stanley Cup, and we will follow from here until May, June time when it's all wrapped up. Any gardening tips, any painting tips, Jono, anything to fill in a blank weekend before we come back with next weekend's content. Talking about content, getting serious for a minute. Got a big thank you to Hayden from the NIHL. Has put in touch with a lot of people to come on the podcast over the next few weeks and months, hopefully, as the run keeps going. So if you look out for, I know a lot of people mentioned when we had the whole guys on last week, they enjoyed the different voices, whether it's because they don't like listening to us or I don't know, but having different voices on. So we'll be exploring that over the next few weeks, and Hayden's kind of put us in touch with a lot of people from within the NIHL North and outside as well. So
is that some evil and some not so evil?
Oh,
yeah.
We're all evil on this podcast as well, you know, Jono.
I couldn't possibly comment. But no, the evil ones might be mentioned as well. He might get on still. We never know. But keep an eye out on Starcast for news. Obviously, next week we've got no games to review, so we're trying to work on a guest for next week. But some exciting things in the pipeline anyway. So keep an eye on Starcast, on the socials, on Billingham Stars, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Bebo, MySpace, Pigeon, whatever. Anywhere we can get the message out, we will do. Before I keep explode by keep talking absolute rubbish. Any other business before we wrap up this Tuesday evening as we record? The only other business we mentioned, Matt Croyle tick, Paddy's debut tick. News from the Supporters Club, Jono, our first theme night is upon us this month.
Yes, obviously it is the whole month of Halloween. So yes, the hockey ween will be back for the Lions game at the end of the month. Fancy dress. There will be the prizes for the best dressed. So let's see what you've got. And
speaking of Supporters Club as well, we had the first Player of the Month vote. It'll be presented, I think, at the next home game. Obviously,
yes.
Don't mention who it is yet. Well,
yes, no names will be mentioned, but the next home game, we have a new thing with a Player of the Month vote for our members. All the votes are in, all the counting has been done, and that player shall be announced at the next home game.
That's brilliant, and it's just another benefit of membership. So I know the guy on the microphone at the Stars games, he's very good, but he does talk a lot, and I don't know if you listen to what he says, but he does mention the membership this year, £8 across the board.
Yep, it's £8. Yeah,
huge number of offers, including the exclusive voting on the Supporters Club awards. But the Supporters Club, see again another fantastic year in prospect. Hockey Ween, the first of many events coming through. But yeah, if people want to get in touch, they've got their own Facebook page. You can drop them a note, see them on home games. And it's the merchandise has been great as well. And I've got my car sticker. Air freshener is running out, so I might need to buy another one at the next game. Glimpses into the lifestyle of the rich and famous. Craig needs an air freshener. But yeah, no, great stuff from the Supporters Club. Thanks to all the volunteers who do that. Still got shirts left and sponsorship of Man of the Matches and stuff, Jono.
Yeah, yes. Man of the Matches is still available. We are running out. I do believe there's not many shirts left either for player sponsorship of the shirts. Like I say, we do have events coming up. Some of them will be members only. So do get signed up and help us help the club. Yeah,
no, brilliant. Great stuff from the Supporters Club. Carol, ourselves on the media side, we had our latest player playlist. I play it on Sunday when finally got Spotify to work on the laptop. But yeah, James Helens had his list. Universally, possibly not like the first track on T-side. Very brave of him to put it in, but showing a bit of personality. And that, again, Spotify, for those who are on Spotify, if you search for Billingham Stars IHC, you'll find our list of playlists. So we've got Jacob, we've got Sykesy, we've got Jam. I've done a playlist of our most used in-game music, so entry music, we're goal music, some penalty music. Brian Adams, we're going to win because we just did. So yeah, stick it in there. Why not? But the playlists going down well, and look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. I'll forgive Jam for his opening track on his Spotify list. Only just. Might have to get one of the players from a bit who support a better team to do a better job on putting a playlist together that has a more appropriate tunage in for Teesside. But other than that, it just adds to the content that we're putting out. And you mentioned Joe Scutts and the fact that he does all of this amazing work, and he has a full-time job, and he still finds the time to do all this stuff, which is so beneficial to our league. Well, I think the work that we do to put out content and the Spotify lists are just one element. We try to give the fans as much content as they can consume, really. And we all have full-time jobs. So I think I'm going to give us a little round of applause as well, just to say we're doing a job here, and I'm glad that people around the league are enjoying it as well, because I know we've got watchers and listeners elsewhere, but that's what we're trying to do, is just give content that people enjoy, and hopefully we're continuing to do that. But if we're not, please do give us the feedback and we'll try and change.
Yeah. I always say, if people are listening, I'll keep talking. Quite simple.
Yeah, no, it's something we've tried. I think it's once you find, we're noticing the numbers, once you start doing it week after week, and people start expecting it on a Wednesday morning, as we put it out now, the numbers have been going up, and we get a good watch on the Facebook when we put the video version out, but the audio version goes out as well, and that gets us Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, stuff like that. So we do have our regular listeners of just the audio content, so they can't see me doing this just on the audio version. But no, we do appreciate everybody tuning in. And like I say, just give us a shout out on when we put the content out on social media. Give us a comment, like what you don't like, what you'd like us to try. We'll try anything. Want to say the player playlist was just an idea. I think Mike had seen it on some other team, and he said, "Can we do this?" We said, "Well, yes." So just do it. In the words of Nike, just do it. And your Billingham Stars media team will certainly try. We'll leave it at that. I think for tonight, it's getting on. We've been talking for a wee while, but we did have two excellent games to talk about. 2 big wins for the Billingham Stars. I don't know if I mentioned that at the top. 6 points, not 6 players, 6 points. All good. I say a week off, but we'll be at training. Anything comes from training, obviously we'll let you know. We will be in an episode next week. No games to talk about, but 2 games to preview, and we'll try and get a guest to come on. But for episode 8 of the Starcast, Jono and Carol, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. And thanks to everybody for listening, watching, tuning in, whatever you're doing. Do that social media thing of the like and share and favorite and report and favorite. Well, not report. Don't report us. Review. That's what I meant.
Subscribe. Yep.
Like, subscribe, smash that like button. Anything that the cool kids say. But thanks for listening and watching the Starcast. We'll be back soon. But for now, bye-bye.
Thank you for being part of this episode of Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Stars. Remember to like and share this episode, send a review when you can, and follow us on social media for the very latest news and to find out when the next Starcast will drop.